Welcome to The Author Show, where we present new authors and books. From fiction to self-help and everything in between, you'll find it all here. To watch the TV version of our program, visit authorswebtv.com. That's authorswebtv.com. And now, let the show begin.
Hi, this is Linda Thompson, your host for The Author Show. Imagine you read a book review that says, if you only wanted one night, would you take a chance on a man who wanted forever? Would you put off buying that and reading that book? I know I wouldn't. In fact, I want to start reading the new novel, If I Loved You, by guest author Mary Williams right now. But first, let's hear more from the first-time author about this very intriguing intro. Mary, welcome to The Author Show.
Thank you, Linda. It's great to be here.
Mary, give us a quick overview of If I Loved You.
Well, the first thought I had is I've read a lot of books where they have a one-night stand. Somebody decides that's what they want. And I thought, well, that's kind of interesting, but I wanted to give it a different twist. And the woman, she propositions the guy that he has a reason why he can't stay the night with her. So he says, well, let's try something different. Let's get to know each other before we jump into bed together. She's reluctant, but I guess she sees sex as the end game, so she goes along with it. And over the course of getting to know each other, of course, things get intriguing, and, I don't think I'm giving anything away when I say they fall in love.
Did you have a specific type of reader in mind when you wrote If I Loved You?
Well, I guess the obvious answer is women, but I have had a lot of men read my books. I've gotten responses back from men, so I don't think we want to pigeonhole it and say romances are just for women, but they're probably 99% of the audience. I'm not going to try to say that guys are out there buying a lot of romances, but I think they do, and I've gotten good response from men and women, so I hope anyone would want to pick up a book if they think it sounds intriguing and not worry about the genre specifically.
Is there another author that you feel may have influenced your writing style?
I hope not my style, because we all want to have our own style, but if I'm going to say who I bow down to, who's my writing god, it would be Nora Roberts. She's the one I fell in love with first when I first started reading romances. I own every book she ever wrote. I think she's amazing. I don't know how she does it. She has to be up writing 24 hours a day to put out as many books as she does. And the quality is always great. So I guess my influence, who I aspire to be, would be Nora Roberts. But good luck with that. I don't think anyone's going to reach that.
You set your story in eastern Washington state. Why there?
It's where I grew up. It's what I know. I grew up in a small town way in the north of Washington. We're about 8 miles away from the Canadian border, right on the Columbia River. It was a really small, not very affluent town. So when I wrote about Harper Falls, which is the fictional town, I put it on the Columbia River, about halfway between where I was and Spokane, Washington, and made it much more affluent. A lot of people with money, but then that's what I like to read about. I don't really like to give my characters money problems, so they don't have any. But since I know the area, that's what I wanted to write about.
Some would call If I Loved You a beach read or a chick lit. How would you describe it?
I guess I have no problem with that. Maybe I would say it's heartfelt and romantic, and yeah, it's a light read. I don't want anyone to think they're going into this with, and nobody dies, nobody has any major illnesses or anything, but I do think it touches the heart. I know my friend said they got a little teary in parts of it. So yeah, let's call it a beach read and chick lit, but it's also, heartfelt. I like heartfelt better.
So do I. Are your characters purely fictional, or did you draw on people you know?
In the first book especially, definitely fictional. I don't know anybody like Jack Winston. He's, probably the ultimate fictional, wow, I'd like to meet a guy like that. Gorgeous, wealthy, sweet, but definitely alpha male too, takes over, knows how to treat a woman right. And Rose is really a successful songwriter. I don't know anyone like that either. So, yeah, fictional, definitely fictional.
Most writers write because they have a message to share. What is the message in If I Loved You?
Ultimately, it's open your heart, take a chance. It doesn't have to be necessarily the one you're going to spend the rest of your life with, but if you close yourself off and don't get to know people, you're just going to have a kind of a sad, lonely life. And I hope that we all, you don't have to be having one-night stands to be happy, but you do have to let people into your life, and you're richer for it.
If you could compare If I Loved You with any other book, what would that other book be?
Wow, that's another good one, because obviously I'd like to think, well, my book is completely original. But I don't know. I guess you could compare it to, wow, I don't even know. If you like Bella Andre, I think I like to think I'm around that kind of book, but I wouldn't specifically pick one out to compare it to.
Will Rose and Jack reappear in another book, and are you planning a series about them?
They will reappear. Harper Falls is going to be featured in at least 2 more books, but Jack and Rose will not be the main characters. The main characters will be Rose's childhood friends. The next one is Danny, and then the next one will be about Tyler and the men in their lives. I want each book to be standalone, so everybody has their happily ever after, and then they complement the next books. We find out how their relationships are moving along, but they're just secondary characters.
So the foundation is Harper Falls, not the characters.
Yes, exactly.
If you were writing an article introducing If I Loved You, what would the headline be?
I guess, welcome to Harper Falls, a place where love is possible if you take a chance and open your heart.
Where can we learn more about you, about your work, and most of all, where can we purchase If I Loved You?
If I Loved You is an ebook, so it's only available through your reading devices. Right now, I'm at all the major outlets, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, iTunes. So just about any place you'd purchase an ebook, you can find my books.
And do you have a website?
I do. It's maryjwilliams.net.
Mary, in the minute we've got left, please share one thing that we have not discussed about If I Loved You that our listeners would want to buy the book.
I think that I wanted to take, like I said earlier, a different turn, not just have them jump into bed together. But what I really wanted to explore was why Rose was reluctant to take Jack on. She has an incident in her childhood, actually her entire early childhood, from her mother and a really, really bad aunt, that I wanted to explore why she was the way she was. And I think that by doing so, you get a good reason why she wouldn't just fall in love with Jack, because, like I said, Jack is pretty much the perfect man. Why would any woman turn him down? So I think that that little aspect of it, I hope, gave it a little more emotional heft. And I think people would be interested in reading something like that.
Mary, thank you so much for chatting with us today, and thank you for sharing If I Loved You. Please come back when you get your next book published.
Well, thank you, Linda. It's been a pleasure. And I will say that my next book will be out in early June. It's called If Tomorrow Never Comes. And like I said, it deals with Danny and the love from her past who shows up back in her life in Harper Falls. And I'm really excited about it. I'm just finishing it up, the first draft today, and I hope to get it published the first week in June.
Mary says If I Loved You is a true romance. One man, one woman, chasing away demons to find a love that lasts a lifetime. It isn't easy, but the journey is worth taking for both them and the reader. And there is an adorable dog thrown in. What's not to love? I couldn't agree more. This is Linda Thompson, concluding another edition of The Authors Show. Please share this interview with your friends and family so that they too may have the opportunity to discover our guest and her work. And why not help spread the word on social media as well? Please join us again next time for another exciting author and another great book on The Authors Show.
Thanks for listening to The Authors Show. To contact us, call toll-free 1-877-955-8800. That's 877-55-8800. Or visit theauthorshow.com, theauthorshow.com. Tune in next time to another great author on The Author Show.